At 76, I finally understood this. It took me 56 years to understand. Don't discard yours. Reached a point in life where pretending everything was fine no longer made sense. For a long time, I repeated ready-made truths without questioning if they were truly mine. I was taught to believe that aging meant accumulating visible achievements. A stable career, external recognition, and a packed routine were treated as victory. I followed that path with discipline, unaware that discipline without awareness becomes a prison. Days stayed busy, yet empty of real meaning and true presence. I woke up early, fulfilled obligations, and went to bed exhausted, believing that was living. Deep down, I was only postponing my own life for a future that never arrived. Everything changed when something unexpected forced me to stop running. It was in that imposed silence that I saw how disconnected I had become from myself. I realized surviving is not the same as being alive. Breathing does not mean feeling, and existing does not guarantee presence. Lying there, without control, a thought broke through every defense I had. If everything ended right there, what would have truly mattered? The answers had nothing to do with status or accumulated possessions. They were simple memories, postponed conversations, and moments that never happened. I understood that I had traded presence for approval and time for expectations that weren't mine. I lived trying to meet what others wanted, not what actually fulfilled me. The greatest pain was not fear of the end, but regret over waste. Waste of energy, attention, and choices made on autopilot. That was when I recognized the most comfortable and dangerous lie of all. The belief that there will always be enough time to fix everything later. We postpone dreams, conversations, and decisions, believing tomorrow will be more favorable. But time does not negotiate, does not warn, and does not adapt to excuses. Every delayed day charges a silent price that we only notice too late. And when we finally notice, there is no way to recover everything left behind. That was the real awakening. Not a moment of enlightenment, but a reality shock impossible to ignore. I began to notice how many people around me were trapped in the same cycle I once followed. Always busy, always tired, always convinced they were moving forward. Everyone seemed to be waiting for a future version of life to finally begin. When things calm down, when money improves, when responsibilities ease. But life never truly slows down on its own. There is always another demand, another urgency, another excuse to delay what matters. I spent years climbing, believing effort alone guaranteed fulfillment. Only later did I realize I was climbing without ever asking where the ladder leaned. By the time clarity arrives, innocence is gone. Time no longer feels abundant, and choices feel heavier than before. Success, as it is commonly defined, revealed itself as a fragile destination. The satisfaction fades quickly, replaced by pressure to achieve something else. Validation becomes addictive, and rest starts to feel undeserved. You celebrate briefly, then return to the same emptiness as before. I watched people dedicate their lives to work, convinced sacrifice would be rewarded. What they received instead was distance from those who mattered most. When they left, the stories told were never about productivity or ambition. They were about absence, missed dinners, and unshared moments. I carry regrets that don't involve mistakes, but hesitation. Moments when fear convinced me to wait instead of act. There were journeys I postponed, relationships I neglected, and truths I avoided saying. Not because I didn't care, but because I believed there would always be more time. We assume the people we love will remain available indefinitely. We treat connection as renewable, forgetting it is fragile. Time quietly removes people from our lives, sometimes without closure, and no achievement fills the silence they leave behind. That realization forced a shift I could no longer resist. I began protecting my energy instead of giving it away blindly. I learned to say no without guilt and yes without fear. I reduced noise and made space for what felt real. Living intentionally is uncomfortable at first. It requires disappointing expectations that were never truly yours. But clarity grows when excess falls away, and peace appears when priorities finally align. I stopped chasing what looked impressive and started choosing what felt honest. That choice changed how every day felt afterward. What truly matters in life is far simpler than most people expect. So simple, in fact, that it rarely impresses anyone watching from the outside. A meaningful life is built through presence, not performance. Through attention, not accumulation. And through intention, not appearance. Time with people you love shapes you more than any achievement ever could. Moments of genuine connection outlast trophies, titles, and public recognition. Work should feel aligned with who you are, not just what pays the bills. When work drains your spirit, no level of comfort can compensate for that loss. Experiences leave deeper marks than possessions ever will. Objects fade, break, or lose relevance, but memories continue to shape identity. Being present is a skill few people are taught. Most are distracted by what comes next instead of honoring what is happening now. I learned that fulfillment doesn't arrive with perfection. It arrives when you stop postponing joy until conditions improve. Ask yourself, with honesty and without excuses, if your life reflects your values. Not what others admire, but what brings calm when everything goes quiet. Waiting for the right moment is a subtle form of fear. Fear disguised as responsibility, logic, or patience. Life does not pause to become convenient. It unfolds amid chaos, uncertainty, and imperfect timing. If I could speak to someone earlier in their journey, I would say this clearly. Do not trade health, relationships, or dreams for approval. Start calling the people you miss, instead of assuming they know you care. Start choosing rest without waiting for permission to deserve it. Do the things that scare you in quiet ways. Not recklessly, but honestly, without waiting for validation. Learn to say no to obligations that drain your spirit. Learn to say yes to experiences that bring meaning, even if they seem small. Life rarely announces turning points. Most of them arrive disguised as ordinary days. The choice you make daily is simple but powerful. Continue postponing or begin living with intention now. The future is not a guaranteed space. The present is the only place where life actually happens. When time feels unlimited, it is wasted easily. When time feels precious, it is lived deliberately. Do not wait for loss to teach you what matters. Do not rely on regret to provide clarity. Learn from the mistakes of those who waited too long. Choose awareness before urgency forces it upon you. Live consciously, love openly, and prioritize what cannot be replaced. Because most of the time, when we finally realize this truth, later has already passed.